Great, great. So hey everyone, I think Eugene, are you with us? Are you there? Somewhere in the
Indeed,
internet
I
cyber?
am.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, hey everyone, hey Alex. Yeah, it's really weird to do this virtually. The only thing which semi resembles an actual TVC is the fact that I'm drinking beers in 11 a.m. But I bet all of you, just like me, are really can't wait for this to change, and I'm really hoping that the next T2EVC will be in person. That's one of my, I think, favorite events ever. And actually, when I see the list of panelists and attendees, we have been working with many of you throughout the years, and it's a community in every sense of the word, right? So it's great. ControlUp has always been trying to work very closely with the community. I think we all gain from that, whether it's product feedback or evangelism or just friendship. So it's great. So hey everyone, we have 43 minutes to show you everything new. We have quite a lot of exciting stuff. Eugene is with us as well, which is great. I know it's early for some of you, but as you saw, I'm already drinking, so unfortunately, we cannot hand you guys tequila shots in person, but I can encourage you to drink at home. That's might be weird, but trust me, after a few shots, you will feel very comfortable. Eugene, I know that you're drinking as well, right? Or am I the only one? I'm not sure.
Definitely.
Can always trust on you. So yeah, I know the questions, right? So please ask questions. Eugene, hopefully, and Alex, if you can get around, go to the webinar, we'll find the questions and we'll direct them to me. Hopefully you will have a few, and tweet away as usual, do your stuff. It's it's a lightweight session as usual, but I think you'll find it interesting. Okay, so I'm going to start with a quick overview because I am assuming some of you haven't heard of us before. I'll do it very quickly because I have a few pieces of news to share, which I want to share with you guys. And then, as usual, we have demos, right? Live demos was always the central part of any ControlUp session. It will not be different today. So about us, we've been around for a while. We actually got our first investment round back in 2014. So since 2014, we have been growing quite steadily. You will see some of that in the news part, but these days we are operating almost globally. We have our HQ in the Silicon Valley in California, but we have guys all over the world. We have offices on the ground in Germany, in the UK, obviously in Israel, where we have most of the development and product management. We are opening a new office in Australia later, like in early 2021, which is great. And we do have quite a few European pods, and some of them are actually here in the crowd, so that's great. We have been working with partners a lot, and we'll cover that in a sec. Many customers, that's really great. Partners, just a quick word on that, we are working very closely with Citrix all the time, whether it's the Citrix Ready team or the conferences or the CUGCs. Citrix has been a major partner of us, and we might see some news there soon, but we'll see. VMware, our relationship with VMware has grown. I will cover that in the news parts, but we continue to have a strong relationship with all the other major EUC players. Microsoft has been doing some massive moves with WVD, and we have been in touch with them for a while, so maybe we'll see some interesting things in 2021, and obviously all the other vendors. So that's a key, for us, it's a key theme because we are, in the end, we look on ourselves as someone who can enable EUC, right? So we work closely with the actual EUC VDI vendors. And in the COVID times, it's only growing, right? And we'll cover that in a sec. So let's cover a few pieces of news. So this bit was actually, I think, published yesterday. So I'm really proud. We just closed our third funding round. So we closed almost $30 million in funding, which is great. We can finally pay Alex for these sponsored sessions, which is always nice. But seriously, this is a big thing for us because A, it shows the trust we have from our existing investors, and B, it allows us to grow much faster. And ever since COVID hit, which is unfortunate for everyone here, I think, but at least the bright side is that for the EUC virtual desktop community, things have been pretty interesting. So, VDIs became a very strategic and almost mandatory technology for many companies. And, vendors like us who provide real-time visibility, automated remediation, essentially management around these technologies will become, even a more crucial part for many businesses. So I think this last investment round is putting us in a very convenient place to start 2021. We are going to grow many of our offerings and our teams. So that's great. That's great. The second piece of news, this is not really new. This has actually been around for a while, but I do want to mention that. So back in May, we signed a strategic resale agreement with VMware. So VMware is actually these days are able to sell ControlUp directly, to sell ControlUp directly as a VMware SKU to all of the Horizon customers, and they have quite a few. So it's it's great. For us, it means that VMware thinks that ControlUp is a solid solution, which is always nice, and B, VMware is obviously opening the door to Horizon and Horizon Cloud community, which is pretty big thing, and it's just growing. VMware is actively discussing ControlUp in pretty much all of their VDI customers, so that's great. And I think it's not to say that we are focusing more on VMware from a product perspective, but it does mean that we think that the business will grow, and eventually we can provide more value to any type of VDI solution. The third piece of news, which is actually quite interesting, for a while, actually from day one, I guess, we have been heavily focusing on VDI and lately on cloud or DAS desktops, right? Whether it's good old Citrix and VMware on premises, whether it's the newer DAS offerings, so WVD and workspaces, and obviously Citrix Cloud and Horizon Cloud and Azure. That's always been our focus, and that's great. We have seen a lot of demand for many, especially the largest customers, to treat their physical and virtual desktop as the same logical entity when it comes to performance management, user experience monitoring, and automation. Now, ControlUp, ControlUp was always available also for physical endpoints, but honestly, our agent technology is not ideal for laptops or physical endpoints running at remote locations. We need a full VPN or a few other prerequisites which are not that great. Now, I can't share with you the entire piece of news, but I can share with you that recently we acquired a small company with some great guys. I think many of you will know the names once we'll go public. We will go public in a few weeks, so you guys don't have to wait too long. But essentially, this acquisition will enable us to provide all the great ControlUp use cases, also for physical endpoints, even for laptops or Linux boxes sitting at home, only connected to the internet. So stay tuned. This is going to be pretty awesome, and hopefully in the next E2EVC we will be able to demo the semi-integrated solution, which is going to be awesome. And finally, the last piece of news, and this will actually be the first part of our demo. Sorry, this is ControlUp SOLVE. So I think we mentioned this a few times before, but finally it's there. This is our brand new web-based next generation ControlUp console. In due time, it will replace everything we do, meaning that it will consolidate both ControlUp Real-Time, ControlUp Insights, Scout Bees, and the new acquisition I was just mentioning. V1 is focusing on the real-time views. We'll cover that soon in the demo, but it's out, it's there, it's a big thing for us. We finally have a modern way to display ControlUp Real-Time, which is great. This is a fully modern SaaS application. We'll also have an on-prem version, obviously. Never forget the Germans, but this is this is great, and we'll see it in a sec. Okay, so this was some pieces of news. Hopefully you found that interesting. And again, if you have any questions, just ask away. I will cover that briefly. This is mainly for more traditional conferences, I guess. But I think we're all familiar with with the challenges of the existing EUC environments. It's tedious to manage, lots of moving parts. I'm not I think I'm not telling anyone here anything new. The good news is that ControlUp, as you know, as our product grows on each version, each release, we are able to cover most of the operational needs when it comes to managing an EUC platform, whether it's performance management or real-time visibility or automation or capacity planning. It's all being built in ControlUp, and with the latest additions, I think it's a full-blown solution for anyone doing someone like that. I'll skip that because we don't have a lot of time. The architecture, I'll just cover that real quickly because it will also be relevant for the new Solve solution. So ControlUp was always based on hybrid cloud architecture, right? So it's a bit similar to Citrix or Horizon Cloud in the sense that we as a vendor, we host the ControlUp backplane, right? This includes all the backend databases, configuration database, license server, historical reporting. The new elements, the new buddy in the neighborhood in regards to the ControlUp cloud plane is the ControlUp Solve web application. Okay, so it's also running here in our Amazon Geo cluster. And I will cover that in a sec. And obviously in the customer environment, again, whether it's on premises or public cloud, we obviously have our data collectors. So we have the agent running inside the VDI boxes, our DSH servers, supporting server, and we have the various API collectors, right? So we have collectors to all the hypervisors, right? So vSphere, Alex favorite hypervisors, Citrix Zen Server, or the new name, Citrix Hypervisor, Nutanix, and obviously the newer public cloud technologies. We actually began working on Azure as another API extension. This will be available in ControlUp v3. And obviously the EUC connection. So we'll actually use that in the demo. For a long time, we had API support for Citrix on-premises and Horizon on-premises. And in ControlUp A2, which is in public beta, we added support for Citrix Cloud. So we'll see it soon in the Solve and real-time demos, which is great. And we are working on Azure and later on WVD integrations. So that's also coming. Just a note on Solve. So the way Solve works, if you're familiar with ControlUp, one of the main components running at the customer location is the ControlUp monitor cluster. So essentially, it's a Windows service running on a dedicated Windows box, which can be scaled out based on the size of the environment. These days, we have customers with pretty big clusters, anything up to 20, even 50 Windows servers running 50 ControlUp monitor servers, which are covering a very large VDI deployments. And very large, I mean almost 60 or 70,000 VDI endpoints and users. So the way Solve is working, so again, Solve is a web-based application, it's running in the cloud, but it's actually using the monitor cluster as its real-time database, right? So when you will see the Solve in action, you have to remember that each time we click on a button in the Solve next-gen application, it actually goes back to the on-premises monitor cluster. It's grabbing the data, and then it's displaying it for you in the real-time web console. So we still have all the fine grain up to like 5 seconds delay. We see everything, all processes, all delivery groups, everything, and you will see it really soon. We obviously also support on premises. Solve will also be supported on premises, but it will happen only in Q1 2021. And yeah, on premises, like it, hate it, it's a necessity. Okay, so demos, assuming no questions for this part, let's start with the demos. Unless, Eugene, you have something really interesting to mention so far.
No questions and no hard liquor yet. Two worrying things.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, let's start. Maybe the demos will kick things up. So let's start with ControlUp Solve, right? So ControlUp Solve is as I mentioned, our next-gen web-based solution. V1 includes dashboards, dynamic topology, and the real-time views. And I've spoken a lot, so let's see it in action. Okay. So what you're seeing on screen, this is Solve V1. This is currently in public beta. It's about to go live either by the end of this month or really early December. Okay, and as mentioned in this slide, These are the first features which are fully supported in V1, and we'll cover them one by one. So from a architecture point of view, this is a hosted app which is continuously connected to the ControlUp monitor cluster running at the customer environment. Okay, it's fully secured, meaning that we don't need any, incoming ports into the customer environment. The way this is working is that our monitor cluster is actually creating an outbound connection to the Solve backend via SSL. It's creating a WebSocket, and then over that WebSocket, just like cloud connectors, which all the other vendors are using, we're able to send these queries in real time. Now, what you're seeing on screen right now, this is the dashboard view. Okay, so we have initially we have 3 types of so let me close this Twitter. Sorry about that. So we have 3 types of built-in dashboards. We have the old dashboard, UX and resources. We'll cover them in a sec. But these widgets are all based on real-time data, right? So if someone or like 10 users will log on right now, you will see this number in a few seconds jumping from 23 to 33 active users. And the same is true for the average login duration, which is based on everyone, and all the other metrics you're seeing here. Okay, so what we have here, we have, on the top some high-level widgets that describe like the size of your environment and a few other interesting facts. A bit below that, we have the stress widgets. Okay, this is a great way to see how many stressed computers, sessions, or processes you have, right? So you can see that in our environment, we have, something like around 100 managed computers, and most of them are either in low or no stress, but we have 2% in critical stress. And the same is true for processes. You can see only a few critically stressed processes, and the same goes for sessions and so on, which is great. We then have the widgets that shows the top 5. So we have the top 5 slowest logons with the actual usernames and the logon time. Again, these are active sessions because this is real-time data. And we have the top 5 processes based on CPU, RAM, and disk usage, which is awesome. And below that, we have all the performance-based widgets, right? So we can see the protocol throughput and latency over time, and many other metrics we have here in the dashboards. Now, one of the cool things here, which was always an issue with the insights and with the real-time dashboard, the previous one, was the ability to focus on specific subfolders or EUC environments or delivery groups, and to filter all this goodness based on the logical structure. So with Solve, it's all doable, right? So I can actually look on my organizational tree in here, and I can, for example, go ahead and focus only on my Zen Desktop 7.11 environment. And once I do that, all the relevant widgets will now show me data which is only relevant for my Zen Desktop 7X sites, right? So we can see now, obviously, a different login duration average, and different top 5s and different metrics, right? So this is pretty cool. And again, this is doable. What you have seen here is doable in any of the Solve screens. Okay, so that's about the main dashboard. The other dashboards are here. By the way, one of our plans in the Solve roadmap is to enable customizable dashboards. So both being able to play with the with the widgets and what's being displayed, but also create your own widgets. But this will only be introduced during 2021. So we have the UX widgets, which is focusing on user experience metrics, and we have the resources dashboard, which is focusing on mainly on the compute stuff, right? So hosts and cluster metrics and computer metrics. Okay. Now, the other main view or area in Solve would be the discovery view. So, okay, so I'm going to click on that. Sorry, on this icon here, and this, for let's go to the machines view. This will actually look a bit more similar to the good old ControlUp .NET-based real-time console, right? So what we have here, this is the actual grid. Okay, so depending on the topology item you're clicking on here, this grid will show you the relevant, objects. So right now I'm looking on agents. So I have a bit more than 110 running agents on my ControlUp demo environment. So each line here is actually, a live agent with all the real-time metrics. And as you may notice here, it's all, being updated every few seconds, again, because this is real-time data, okay? And just like the real-time console, I can click on I can click on a cell here, and Solve will actually open the, the drill down screen. It will focus now on that specific virtual machine or physical endpoints. It will show me the metadata, and it will show me either all the sessions running on that specific box, or I can click on processes, and I will see only the processes running on that specific box here. Okay, so what you're seeing here, this is actually part of our dynamic topology feature, which means that whenever we navigate in Solve, we're always in context, right? We can see that CRDSH is running on this specific ESXi box, running on this specific cluster, on this specific data center. And I can quickly navigate to the sessions or processes running on that box, okay? The dynamic topology is actually becoming even more interesting when you're managing EUC environments, okay? So let me quickly see here. I'm afraid that, unfortunately, GoToWebinar is stealing on my bandwidth, so things are a bit slower than usual, but trust me, it's very, very fast. Okay, so let's look on the EUC environments. Depending on what you have configured in the ControlUp real-time console, you can either see Citrix objects, so we have the actual sites. What you see here, by the way, is two on-premises sites, and you can already see the new integration with ControlUp Cloud. So this ControlUpcloud.com site is actually a Citrix cloud-based site, and you can see the metrics are all still relevant. We also have, by the way, the new cloud connectors view. Okay, so this is only relevant for Citrix Cloud, and here you can see all the Citrix cloud connectors, which are part of your ControlUp Cloud deployment, and you can see the the relevant metrics and so on and so forth. For on-premises deployments, we have the brokers. So we have here two delivery brokers from Citrix with the relevant metrics and the health scores, and obviously delivery groups. Okay, so this would be, and this is pretty cool, as long as I'm not focusing on any specific sites, here you will see in an aggregated view all the delivery groups from each EUC site, whether it's cloud or on-premises that you guys are managing. Okay, and again, we can drill down, we can sort, we can see all the health or performance metrics and quickly understand what's the current status of our Citrix delivery group sites, or and so on and so forth. Now, if you happen to have Horizon, you can quickly switch to the Horizon EUC sites, and then our dynamic topology will be updated accordingly. So now when we switch to the Horizon world, we're now seeing pods, we are seeing desktop pools, we're seeing connection servers. Everything was switched to the Horizon terminology. And we have aggregated views that show us the relevant logical entities with the respective metrics, whether it's availability, performance, or usage. And the same is true for, obviously, connection servers. So new in here, by the way, for whoever was using our Horizon integration in ControlUp before ControlUp 8.2, we actually added support for the Horizon RDSH objects. So now we also have Horizon RDSH farms as part of the API integration and application pools. So we're pretty much on par between Citrix and Horizon. I would say the one thing which is still favorable to Citrix is the support for Citrix Cloud. We still don't have API-based support for Horizon Cloud and Azure, but that's mainly because VMware hasn't published the APIs yet. Okay, so that's all. Obviously, we have the NetScaler views. So again, if you have NetScalers configured in your real-time organization, you will be able to consume the views from here. And just like the real-time console, you can click on on any of the NetScalers and drill down to the load balancers and the other NetScaler related objects. Okay, so that's, hopefully you guys can appreciate all the work that was done here. It's very, very cool. It's a lightweight client, regardless of the size of our environment. It's a SaaS app, so we can update this regularly. And as you might notice, I'm quite excited from this. So I'm not sure, Alex, how much time do we have left, by the way? I just checking. We'll let Alex chat that, but
20 minutes.
Okay, good. So let's move on. And again, Eugene, if you guys see any questions, just let me know. So Solve is here, by the way. The public beta is in progress. if anyone wants to grab the ControlUp 8 bits, which are actually the building block for Solve, then simply send an email to support@controlup.com, and we will gladly share with you the ControlUp 8 bits. And once you guys upgrade to 8.2 or install a new 8.2 organization, you will be able to use Solve as well. By the way, one last note about Solve, which I haven't mentioned, is the authentication methods. So out of the box with V1, we are supporting 2 types of authentication options. One is LDAP integration. LDAP integration is pretty simple. It means that you authenticate to Solve with your local Active Directory user and password, right? Your actual AD account that you guys are using for the local Windows logons, which is simple and easy. But we also support SAML. Okay, so you guys can configure SAML if you have a SAML IDP in your environment, and you can use SAML, and then obviously it's a single sign-on authentication based on your SAML token, which is really convenient for many of the enterprise customers. Okay, and again, Eugene or if you have any notes on Solve, or if you see any questions on that, then please feel free to interrupt me. Okay, so ControlUp 8.2. So as mentioned, ControlUp 8.2 is actually the first.
Yoni, sorry, there are a couple of questions I'll ask you, right? Sure. I mean, from the questions, is Solve an add-on license? Is Solve?
Yeah. So let me refer to the license question. So Solve is officially Solve is indeed an add-on license. We are planning to have like a higher tier of ControlUp that will include Solve and also ScoutBiz, which we'll cover soon enough. However, it's really depending on your specific situation. So for quite a few of our existing customers, Solve will be available as a built-in solution. So it's really depending. Again, for new customers, yeah, Solve is included in the new highest ControlUp tier. But if you're an existing customer, then please contact your CSM or account executive or SC, and you will know exactly what are the next steps.
All right. Okay, next question. Sorry, I will just go quick because there are quite a lot of questions. So the next question is, can this be an MSP solution where we as a MSP can see multiple customers and provide customers access to their own dashboards?
Okay, so let me split the answer. So yes, we fully support. Let me show Solve inside the LAN, because I think the GoToWebinar is a bit hard from a bandwidth perspective. So yeah, let me answer that, right? So we fully support MSPs, right? So we have quite a few large MSP customers using the ControlUp legacy solution, and as long as you properly configure everything and you have folders per tenant or whatnot, then yeah, it's a MSP friendly solution. And yes, we can definitely provide custom views per tenant, and the way to achieve that is to use our existing security policy, right? So let me quickly explain that. Let me first show the tree. So customers can configure security permissions based on the folder structure, right? So imagine for a sec that this is tenant A and this is tenant B, right? So what you guys can do, and this is what our MSPs are doing, they're going to the security policy and they're using mainly the view folder permission, and based on that, they tie this into the relevant security groups. And then, if for example I'm only a member of the tenant B group, when I log into the real-time console or to Solve, I will only see that specific. I will see something like this, right? I will only see, for example, tenant B folder. Okay, so yeah, we fully support the MSP model as long as you properly configure the folders and security policies. It will be, let's say, custom dashboards or views based on the tenant security policy. Yeah.
All right. Okay. The next question is, and Eugene, you asked me about the questions. I'll forward that to you. So the next question is, will there be an ability to easily create custom dashboards in Solve and assign access to only specific groups? It's just very short, please.
Yeah, so not right now, not in V1, but the roadmap, if I remember correctly, either in Q2 or Q3 2021, we are going to add a support for custom dashboards that will support everything you mentioned.
Okay. Next question. By the way, guys, when you ask the question, because there are so many questions, I'll forward them to Eugene, and Eugene will get in contact with you. And for every question, I think he's shipping 2 boxes of fine wine or something like that. Or was it the cognac?
Scott.
Right. So the next question is, does Solve portal support the SBA action? I have no idea what that means.
Yeah. No, excellent question. So the question is referring to the right. Let's look on the grids, for example. So as I said, in V1 we only support like a read-only mode, so we can see everything. Now, Alex, just to explain to you and maybe other the questions, in the real time in the existing solution, we have the ability to run built-in and custom scripts against computers, sessions, and so on. So V1 of Solve does not support that yet, but this is actually being worked on these days. So the next big ControlUp real-time Solve release, which is planned for Q1 or actually Q2 2021, will add full support for script actions and built-in action in Solve.
All right, just one second. There's the question. Can you please show the SAML slide again?
Yeah, it's the config screen actually, and we can we can share with everyone later like the SAML configuration link. But yeah, this is it, right? Here, if you turn this on, you have the all the SAML configurations, the IDP URL and the token and whatnot. But yeah, this is it. It's here.
All right. 1 second. Gunnar, you have a specific question? If you have a specific question, please do ask, and I'll forward it to Eugene so that Yoni can continue. All right, let's continue on, and I'll forward all of the questions to Eugene. If this is a question which is related to the slides, I will ask this question directly.
Awesome.
Right?
And yeah, I just want to, because now that I'm connected via Citrix session, I just want to stress out the awesome performance of this app, right? Even though this is a hosted app in Amazon, and it's communicating all the time with the on-premises monitor cluster, you can see that even we're looking on pretty heavy processes view, it's pretty amazing, right? I'm quite proud of the level of responsiveness we got here. I can go ahead and just look for Chrome processes, and the response is almost instant, right? This is pretty great. You can look on any, and we are seeing the same performance also with very large customers. So even though this is a web application, which I know some people had like questions if this can be as responsive as the .NET console, and the answer is yes. It's really awesome. Okay, so ControlUp 8.2, I actually covered most of the new features already. So as mentioned, we now have support for Citrix Cloud. So to configure that, you have to use the ControlUp real-time console. You will go to the Add EUC environments, and now you can choose the new Citrix Cloud option, configure your customer ID and whatnot. And once this is done, Citrix Cloud will be available both in Solve and in the ControlUp real-time area, right? So, and from a metrics perspective, this is very similar to the existing API integration with Citrix. We had the Horizon RDSH add-on. Yeah.
Yoni, a quick question. I think it's important. Does Solve needs on-premises ControlUp management console?
So, no, you don't need the real-time console to be running, right? It's not prerequisite. You do need to make sure that the ControlUp monitor cluster, right, whether you have one node or more, they have to be running, because these cluster monitor services are actually serving as the real-time database for the Solve web application. But the real-time console itself can be closed. It's actually absolutely not related to the Solve application. Okay, so just Horizon RDSH. So as mentioned already, we added support for Horizon RDSH farms and application pools and sessions, which is great. And finally, centralized auditing. I will not demo it today because the user interface is not published yet. It will be available in Solve as well, but this means that once this is available, each time someone is running either a management action or a configuration change via ControlUp console, it will be fully audited in a central database, and you will have a central report to show everything that was done. Now, we have auditing today, but it's it's event-based. It's actually logged in the event log on relevant agent or computer or console computers, so it's not really easy to consume. Centralized auditing will actually have a new solve screen that will enable you to see in a central place all the management actions, script actions, and configuration changes to your ControlUp organization. And I know that many customers are using ControlUp heavily to run management actions. And I think the centralized auditing will be another great enabler for that. So yeah. Okay, so assuming we have a few minutes left, I want Eugene to quickly update us on script actions, and then we'll summarize with the quick ScoutBees update. So Eugene, please go ahead, man.
All right, Eugene, you are a presenter now. So close your browser. Go ahead.
Yep. Good. So hi everyone. Good to see everyone. Can you see my webcam as well? Yeah. No, not yet.
Yeah, can hear.
So traditions don't go away very easily. So if anyone recognizes the ControlUp shots here, I filled this with apple juice from before.
Finished the entire bottle this morning?
Yeah, man. It's hard times. So let's just go ahead and do a quick cheers. Yeah, cheers everybody. You didn't think you'll get away with a ControlUp session with no drinking, did you? So cheers everyone. Next time, hopefully we'll do this properly. Anyway, thanks Yoni for the overview of Solve. It never ceases to surprise me how fast and how nicely looking it is now that we're building a whole new user interface from scratch. That's great. And the other news are also exciting. Here's one part of ControlUp which actually never ceases to innovate and introduce new content. So this is the script-based actions. Hopefully you can see my community script actions screen now, which is basically a list of the recent updates to our scripting gallery, which keeps growing all the time, and we have great content submitted. You can probably recognize some of the names here. Ton is here, Esther is here, Guy Leach, of course, is going to speak later in this conference, and we have a lot of great contributors to this gallery. And the idea is basically to introduce more and more new youthful management actions for BDI administration, whether it's Citrix or Horizon, and also stuff that is more general Windows troubleshooting and remediation analysis. As you can see, like just one quick example, this is a very popular one, downloaded thousands of times, which is a script which analyzes GPO extensions load time and helps troubleshoot slow loading of group policies. And this is a good example of a script that basically the main result is analysis, right? It doesn't really fix anything, but it gives you a lot of information, a lot of insight into slow group policy loading times. And it's quite similar to what we do with the general analyze logon duration script, which is also hugely popular. Both of those have been recently updated several times by Guy Leach, including all sorts of interesting new functionality like FS logics, app volumes, Ivanti, DM, all those phases are now shown in the analysis of logon duration, helping you understand what's taking so long when your users log on. Besides that, we have a lot of cool stuff here, and like I said, this is not really dependent on any version releases. So this is getting released all the time. Almost every week we have a couple of new script-based actions introduced. And this is probably a good time to invite anyone from this community who would like to contribute their own scripts. It doesn't have to be really elaborate and complex. Some of the scripts here are actually one-liners. But if you're not familiar with the ControlUp script-based actions mechanism, basically what it is like a machine gun for scripts. So if you ever thought of a challenge of how do I run a single script on like 1,000 or a couple of thousand or a few hundred targets and compare the results, this is probably one of the perfect solutions for you to do so. Maybe if you charge by the hour, then you want something that works more slowly than it does. But if you like fast results, and if you need to run scripts on multiple targets and compare the results, I think we're one of the probably, if not the unique, then one of the few solutions that enable you to do that really efficiently and well. And of course, the content of the script, I think, speaks for itself. And if you review the script gallery and consider contributing your own, we'll be really happy, and so will the community. Hopefully, Guy can elaborate on some of the techniques and some of the secret sauce he uses with his own scripts in his own session. And hopefully that, I know I learned a great deal from the contributions that Guy made to the script library. And like I said, it keeps growing. You can search for ControlUp scripts on the web as well. So there's a web interface for the script library, which keeps growing and becoming better and better. So feel free to do that as well. And back to you, Yoni.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I know we're almost done, so I just need 2 more minutes to show you guys the latest update to ScoutBees, and I think then we can move on. And anyway, my beer is empty, so I have to move on as well. Alex, if you can make me the presenter for the last 2 minutes, that would be great.
I think I can do that. Go ahead.
No, you can't.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So again, ScoutBees, if you guys haven't heard about that, ScoutBees is a pretty new solution. It's out there for like, I think, 4 or 5 months. ScoutBees is a fully managed synthetic transaction testing solution for end user computing. So think about configuring a scout, like a test, every 5 minutes that will go ahead, launch from a specific location, a Citrix session or a Horizon session or a WVD session, and make sure the connection was successful. If yes, great. If not, it can send an alert. Okay, so it's a bit like the Citrix probes or a few other solutions, but I think it's much better because it's from us. No, I'm kidding. It's really great because it's fully managed, right? So zero infrastructure on your end. The only thing you guys need to set up if you want to, it's optional, is I'll show you when you create a new scout, which is actually a new test, you can either choose a cloud hive, and these are the currently available cloud locations. So if you choose cloud hives, then it's fully managed, right? It's you guys just need to configure a test. You provide let's show an example, right? You can choose one of the gateway types. So these are the current things we support. We support obviously Citrix NetScaler, Cloud Gateway, which is great, and various few Horizon options. We are working on WVD, by the way. And once you choose that, then you need to obviously supply the the gateway address, username and password, and then you can choose the published app and the interval. Now, once this is configured, you have a test running. This is one test, for example, and you can see that this test is running nicely because you can see that all the latest tests were successful. All right, so this is running every an hour or whatnot. And again, if something fails, we have a pretty elaborate alerting policy. Now, the data we collect for a test is seen on screen right now. We show all the all the metadata you see here. You can see the phases and how long it took to actually execute. And we also grab a screenshot from successful sessions. So it's pretty pretty intuitive. And we already have, even though it's a new solution, we already have dozens of customers using it in production. And again, because this is a SaaS application, it's being evolved very quickly. I know that Gadi is the man behind this awesome solution. He's working on new things like WVD support, and we already support, by the way, Azure AD authentication. This was a big request. We also support various two-factor authentication, which is pretty challenging, including two-factor like, Duo or others, which was pretty challenging. But Gadi is also working on expanding ScoutBees to be able to run some specific application flows once the session is fully launched, right? So imagine you don't want just to verify the EUC or the VDI site availability. You also want to open an app and do a few clicks and make sure you got the relevant results. So this is also being worked on. Okay, but even before that, ScoutBees is an awesome solution for synthetically continuously test your EUC environments from anywhere in the globe or our cloud location. So yeah, so I'm pretty much done. Alex, I want to thank you, and thank you, Gene, and thank everyone. I'm really hoping that next time we can do this in person, so we can drink together and have fun together. That's the whole point. And yeah, Alex, if you can relay to us all the questions, assuming there are some we haven't answered, then please do. And again, thanks a lot for the opportunity.